Okay, so basically, gents, a firm, thank you. Okay, a firm has to get to the point where they decide if they should carry on producing or if they shouldn't carry on producing. Okay, and that's basically what the whole shutdown point is all about. Okay, it's determining whether a firm should carry on producing or not. So I'm going to use the Zom farm as an example. Okay, the Zom farm makes 400 Zoms every single day. Okay, and they sell these Zoms and they make some profits. If the Zom farm gets to a point where they are not selling enough Zoms to make profits, they then are faced with the decision of whether to carry on production or not. But the question is, how are they going to decide this? And this is what the shutdown point is all about. Okay, so let's just have a read at 6.4.2. It says, let's assume that there are two firms. Each firm produces 1,000 cool drinks, which sell for 5 Rand each. So what is the total revenue? 5,000 Rand, simple enough. Okay, I'm running out of board space. 5,000 Rand is the total revenue. Okay? Their fixed costs are 2,000 Rand. Okay, both of these firms' fixed costs are 2,000 Rand. Fixed cost 2,000 Rand. Okay? Firm 1 faces variable costs of 4,000, while firm 2 faces variable costs of 5,500 Rand. Now, with that information that you've been given there, gents, do you think that these firms should carry on producing or not? And why? Okay? So firm 1, variable cost of firm 1 is 4,000 Rand. Okay? Firm 2 variable cost is 5,500 Rand. The question is, do you think these firms should carry on producing? Yes or no? Okay? Before you answer that question, though, maybe you should ask yourselves, if the firms carry on producing, will they have to pay their fixed costs? If the firm carries on producing, will they have to pay their fixed costs? If the firm doesn't produce anything, do they still have to pay their fixed costs? Okay? If they don't produce anything, do they have to pay their variable costs? Okay? If they don't produce anything, they don't have to pay variable costs. Whereas if they carry on producing, then they have to pay their variable costs. So the question is, given this information, when total revenue for both firms is 5,000 Rand, okay, the fixed cost is 2,000, so that can easily be covered. Okay? If they carry on producing, then they have to pay variable costs. Firm 1, 4,000, firm 2, 5,500 Rand. Whereas if they shut down, they might not have to pay these variable costs. So please tell me, do you think these firms should carry on producing, yes or no? What do you guys think?
No.
Whites first.
So I think firm 1 to keep producing, so firm 2 should shut down.
Firm 1 keep producing, firm 2 shut down. Okay, let's carry on reading the example. So if you look there, the total revenue is 5,000. I'm now looking at the table. The fixed costs are both 2,000, all happy, but the variable costs change. One is 4,000, one is 5,500. Therefore, the total cost for firm 1 is 6,000, right? And the total cost for firm 2 is 7,500. Straight underneath there it says, both firms, actually please read for me, Sims.
Both firms' total revenue is less than the total cost. Firm 1 faces a variable cost of 4,000 Rand, while firm 2 faces a variable cost of 5,500 Rand. Thus, they both make a loss. Firm 1 makes a loss of 1,000 Rand, 5,000 minus 6,000, while firm 2 makes a loss of 2,500 Rand, 5,000 minus 7,500.
Okay, so there's a warning light there to shut down where total revenue is smaller than total cost. Okay, so if your total revenue is smaller than your total cost, that's a warning sign to then shut down. If you look at the table below there, the total revenue is 5,000, 5,000, still on the same page. Total cost 6,000 and 7.5 are still on the same page. That total cost is now drawn from the table above. Can you see that? Okay, please tell me if you're not following, gents. Okay, and then the total loss for firm 1 is minus 1,000, whereas firm 2 is minus 2,500. So if they shut down, the total loss if they shut down for firm 1 will actually be 2,000, okay, and the total loss if they shut down for firm 2 will be 2,000. Why are both those total losses if they shut down 2,000, 2,000? Yes, sir?
The price of the fixed cost.
It's the price of the fixed cost. Okay? If they shut down, they don't have to pay their variable costs. Okay? So if they shut down, they pay 2,000, 2,000. However, if they continue to trade, firm 1 only loses 1,000, and firm 2 loses 2,500. Okay? So what would you advise firm 2 to do?
Shut down.
Okay, because if they don't shut down, they're actually losing out, but they're losing out more if they actually carry on. Does this make sense, gents? Okay. However, both firms will not shut down. Okay, let's read it at the bottom. If both firms shut down, they will lose their revenue. They will also avoid paying their variable costs. However, if they have to pay their fixed costs, this means that they will lose 2,000 if they shut down. If firm 1 continues production, it will lose 1,000 rand, but if it shuts down, it will lose 2,000 rand. Therefore, it would rather continue production than to shut down. On the other hand, across the page, firm 2 continues production, it will lose 2,500, and if it shuts down, it will lose 2,000. Firm 2 would be better off discontinuing production and shutting down. So we're all on the same page there. Let me explain what this thing means, the shutdown rule. Okay, so the first thing, you don't have to take this down, I'll put it up on the group. First thing is that the actual shutdown point takes place where total revenue is smaller than total variable cost. So basically, if you can't even cover your variable costs in a business, it doesn't make sense for you to continue to operate. That's basically what this is saying. Okay? Where total revenue is smaller than total variable costs. Not even average costs or total costs, okay? Variable costs. Production should continue when total revenue is greater than total variable costs. Okay? A firm should only produce if the average revenue, which is basically the price, okay, is equal to or greater than the average variable cost. If your price can at least cover your average variable cost, and then you should continue. If not, then you should shut down. And now we're going to look at it in a graph graphically. Okay, so can everybody draw, please? Everybody needs to draw this before you all sleep. Okay, everybody needs to draw this. Maybe you can open the last curtains then I do. Okay, so you've got your cost revenue curve, output. The shutdown point is determining whether we should carry on producing or whether we should stop producing as a firm. We should carry on producing if our revenue is at least higher than our variable costs. Our variable costs are the costs that are associated with production. So if we produced an extra unit, there's going to be extra variable costs associated with that. If we're not producing anything and we're producing 0 units, okay, there are no variable costs associated to that. So that's just the background. This is still part of perfect markets. Okay? As I said, shutdown point, this is actually metric word, but you guys might as well be metric students. You guys will probably chow my metric class actually. Okay, so the first graph that I'd like to draw, KI, what's this graph called again?
Marginal cost.
Thank you, all the KIs in the class. Okay, this is the marginal cost. Okay, the night tick, Mr. Noble. Don't forget, marginal cost, night tick. Okay. The next one is that you guys notice the average cost, the smiley face, okay? The average cost. I've also called it here the average total cost, which is basically the average cost.
So Mr. Pillay taking functions from a trick, sir?
Did he?
Mr. Pillay taking functions from a trick?
He was this year, but
Not next year then? Okay, good.
No. We actually had made a deal
Oh yes.
2 years ago, so I was actually supposed to have top set this year, and yeah, they
So
somehow
hit the motion.
they took my boys away from me, my favorite class ever.
What?
After you guys. I taught those guys I taught them EMS, the top set iPad class EMS when I got to college. So you can imagine the bond that I've had with those boys. All of them are now empty head boys. Most of them are prefects. In fact, the top 10 matric boys were all taught by me in EMS.
Your